Hello, I'm Lynnaire Johnston, the Word Wizard, and I'm the author of LinkAbility, 4 Powerful Strategies to Maximize Your LinkedIn Success. And today I'm talking to Adele Lee. Adele is a career coach and a job search advisor, and she's on the other side of the world from me. I'm in New Zealand where it's nighttime. Whereabouts exactly are you, Adele?
So I'm currently sat in sunny Sardinia, a little island off Italy, and it's my morning.
Fabulous.
So we've got the opposite ends.
Opposite ends of the day. You're drinking coffee and I'm drinking, well, I'm not drinking coffee, put it that way. So thank you for joining me today. And the reason that I've asked to have a chat with you is because you and I work with LinkedIn, but we do different things with it. I often work with businesses and help them with their LinkedIn marketing, and you help with the recruitment and people looking for job seeking, career ladder movement, and also pivoting their careers. Now, in 2020, it's been a very difficult year for recruitment all around. So my very first question is for you about LinkedIn. For a job seeker or somebody wanting to move up the career ladder, what is the very first thing that they need to do on LinkedIn?
Well, they have to be on LinkedIn. That's first and foremost. And the top half of the page is the most important, because if you haven't got that right, what you have underneath that is a total waste of time. Anyone's going to scroll down. So the key things are your profile picture, the background, the banner background, rather than the standard blue background that LinkedIn puts in there, and then the headline under your name. Now, at the moment, I think, I haven't got LinkedIn open, I've not checked this morning, but it's over 1 million people. I think it's something like 3 million people have seeking employment as their headline, which is the biggest no-no, because a recruiter or a hiring manager is never going to search for seeking employment. And that headline under the name has got the most weighted algorithm, search function algorithm from LinkedIn. As you'll know, and I know you talk about this, that it's so important that you have your job title and actually really have a positioning statement if you can, or maybe some of your skills in there. So the character limit that headline gives you, and then moving on to the about section is another really, really important piece to be filled in completely. And really showcase, that's where you want to really showcase your skills, your achievements, the value you bring to a business, because then you're going to get the person to read on. So the first half of the page.
Fantastic. I also want to ask you then, you've just said that the headline is really important, but not putting in that you're looking for work is also critical. What do you think about the open to work banner that you can put around your profile photo? Is that a good idea or not?
This is a bit of a Marmite one. You either love it or you hate it, I think, or Vegemite, I think, as it is from over your side of the world. Look, I think, if I step back into my recruiter shoes, I would say it's a no, because I think there's so many people looking for work at the moment, and that jumps out, and, a recruiter potentially in hiring on that's looking for work. And I just think that can really put you on the back foot before you started the conversation. You can have the seeking opportunities, so recruiters and hiring managers that have the recruiter license will see, but I don't think you necessarily have to be so upfront with the banner and the photo. So my personal preference is no, but I think, like I said, I just think it's going to be a preference thing.
Yes, there seems to be quite a bit of debate about whether that's a good idea. And I tried it on my account for a little while because, of course, as somebody who works with other clients, then I'm always open to work. So I thought that might be a useful thing to have displaying. But I just didn't feel comfortable about it in the end. And I just felt that it sent the wrong message. And so I decided to take that off. So I'm a bit like you. I'm just not really terribly sure that it's really helping people in the job market at the moment. That's for certain.
Yeah, I think it kind of has a little bit of desperation and devalues you straight away. I liken some of the, LinkedIn and the job searching to kind of dating, and it's a bit like walking into a bar. I'm single. So I just think, start the conversations first, and open that up before being so out there. Also, using LinkedIn as a networking platform. I don't think if you were at a networking event, straight away you would shake someone's hand and say, I'm open to opportunities. You want to get to build that relationship. So that's I come at it from that sort of side of things, and think you don't need to display it, front and center before you've kicked off any conversation.
At the very beginning of our conversation, you said that you have to be on LinkedIn. Is there anybody who isn't on LinkedIn in terms of recruiters? Are recruiters unanimously using LinkedIn in their search for good staff members?
Not all of them, because I actually have a few recruiters that are working with me on my program to actually get them upskilled on LinkedIn. But I would say the majority, yes. I think around 93% of recruiters are using LinkedIn to find, research, and recruit and vet the candidate. So I'd say any good recruiter, these days, that's going to be their first port of call. Now, there's a number of reasons for this. The actual cost of advertising online, so on job boards like Indeed or Seek or Monster, the various job boards, that's all massively increased over the last couple of years. So recruiters haven't got the budget. Also, we're all looking to cut costs. Recruiters haven't got the budget to be putting every job advert online and waiting for the response. Coupled with that, the number of applications that are being sent to a live job opening is huge, and a recruiter doesn't want to have to deal with that number. So they want to just go directly to find potential people, and that's what LinkedIn allows them to do, and to go and search. So I actually interviewed a recruiter the other week, and she said that she probably writes 1 out of every 10 jobs that she gets on and posts it live, but she's using LinkedIn and her network. So you miss the opportunity if you're not on there. You're not on there correctly, and you're not working the platform to maximize it in terms of its networking capabilities.
Tell me about maximizing it for the networking capabilities. What does that look like when you are a job seeker? How do you use LinkedIn to network really well?
So I think it's the same as everyone else. And I say to people, if we think about LinkedIn as being a physical networking event. So first of all, you've got to get dressed and look the part. So that's getting your profile ready. Because if you're turning up and you're not looking the part, nobody's going to want to talk to you, and you're potentially going to be asked to leave. And then you've got to go up and talk to people, shake their hands, introduce yourself. So, LinkedIn's exactly the same. So I hear from a lot of people saying, LinkedIn doesn't work for me. It's a tool that just works. We have to work it. The same as just turning up at networking events isn't going to work unless you start talking to people. So, I kind of, position it as the same. And the beauty, though, of LinkedIn, I mean, personally, I don't like those, networking events, in-person networking events, because you don't know who anyone is. And, I'm always forgetting people's names that I've just been introduced to. But with LinkedIn, you can actually research the person before you go and connect with them. So it makes it so much easier. You can find out the background. You might have some people in common. You might be involved in some groups, or you could see that they volunteered at, a charity that's really close to your heart. You can find that kind of connection to be able to go and introduce yourself, which makes the it's a conversation starter. So actually approaching these people is much easier. And nowadays, it's about who you know and who knows you and what you're known for. And networking on LinkedIn opens that up, like never before. So, you really do have to use that to get known. And also, the figures and research shows from Gallup that 75 to 80% of roles are filled via networking and direct contacts. So if you are not on LinkedIn and you're not networking and you're not contacting people directly, you're missing out on opportunities. Some other facts and figures, because I've just been writing about this, so I have them already. 122 million jobs, and I think this was 2019, might have been 2018. 122 million jobs were sourced via LinkedIn. 35.5 million of those were recruited by the person that they made a direct. Why you have to be on there and you have to be connecting, then I don't know what is.
Those are astonishing numbers. That's absolutely astonishing. Now, I want to ask you about LinkedIn in terms of presenting somebody's skill and experience. I see a lot of LinkedIn profiles that look like they have been copied and pasted from somebody's CV. So clearly that's the wrong thing to do. But what is it that makes a LinkedIn profile stand out from a CV? How does somebody put together a profile that is different from what they've got on their CV, Adele?
So I don't think it has to be different. I think, and my advice nowadays is start with your LinkedIn profile and then you strip it back to build your CV. Rather than, the old school, the CV to LinkedIn. I say LinkedIn profile, it's like your CV on steroids, because you have all this room to put in this information, whereas really your CV needs to be down to 2-3 pages and not putting in all that information. And actually you can put a lot more in LinkedIn and then be kind of, pulling out the key information to put in your CV to link to the jobs that you're sending your CV to. Also, if we think about it, that, LinkedIn really, and working that, should be making up 75 to 80% of your time in the job search market, whereas your CV should only be making up 20. Focus on your LinkedIn profile and really getting that standing out. One of the key things that I say to people is we have to show, not tell the reader. And it's the same with the CV. And I see too many LinkedIn profiles and CVs that say things like, I'm goal-oriented. You need to show them how you've used those great communication skills to bring about a result, so that great communication becomes tangible for me. Because nobody is going to put, I'm not a great communicator, I hate working towards goals and never achieve results. So we really have to, I think, and this is where the work comes in, is about actually kind of cementing what we're saying with results and with something that, in a sense, people feel like they can touch and feel, and have experienced that, that part of your career. And I think that's the part it's not easy at all. A little video post, and I was talking about my own CV from years ago, and I was putting words like, I'm gregarious. I also say, don't put these words that you just wouldn't use in a conversation with somebody. So think about your LinkedIn profile as you're talking to someone. And, and I think also I think CVs and resumes have changed so much in terms of, we've got to show our human side, people by people. We need to show our personality, our characteristics, not just the duties we've performed in a job. And the same goes for the LinkedIn profile. So, my aim when I'm working with people on their LinkedIn profile is that somebody reads it and they go, I like this person. I feel like I know, like, and trust this person, even though I've never met them. So some personality, put in about what you do out of work, and particularly if it relates to work. So that's my advice. And then trim it down to your resume. Now, LinkedIn recently, although they've always had a function where you can download your LinkedIn profile to a PDF, but they now have a resume building button. So you can actually build your resume from your LinkedIn profile. So we don't need to think of this as doubling up. we kind of think of, you know, the LinkedIn profiles, the book, and the resume is kind of the overview and the flyer, in a sense. And always put your LinkedIn URL, which should be customized to take out all those random digits. Put that on your resume and put it your signature at the bottom of your email.
Excellent advice. Absolutely agree with all of that. For any kind of LinkedIn profile, one of the things that I really like about LinkedIn is that it is visual. It's not just the words anymore. And so if you're a job seeker, what can you put on your LinkedIn profile that is going to make you stand out visually from other people?
So really interesting. It's funny, I've been writing some notes about LinkedIn for some training. 75% of people are visual. So actually really capturing them when they land on your profile, because you have that 6-7 seconds to make an impression, and you know that they'll leave. That background shot is key, and your photo. And this not having the open work banner, because they're seeing that straight away. So really key about the background shot. Now I say to people, you know, either find something that reflects your personality. So, you know, I've worked with a couple of people that, and they actually work in the sporting industry, but they're also very sporty and athletic. So they've used shots around that. I've had another guy, he works in retail property. And so he's had a picture of kind of a very cool picture of a shopping centre, not an awful one. So you can have something that relates to what you do, I think is really good, because this is, you know, I think we need to think about our LinkedIn profile and our resume. It's our marketing brochure. And so it's a really good way, you know, nice background shot that, you know, has some connection to us, is really good and really, you know, really can make you stand out. And then again, that's why the headline, kind of having, you know, 1 or 2 job titles and perhaps a positioning line, so people know what they're about to read, in a sense. So I think there's some very simple ways, and it's, you know, doesn't take a lot of time, that can just give a profile that edge when a recruiter or a hiring manager's kind of flicking through, and you're going to stand out, and they're going to want to read it.
Adele, do you think that a LinkedIn profile is something that's static, that you put up and then that you leave? Or do you think a LinkedIn profile is something that can change and develop and grow depending on your focus, your new jobs, experience, that kind of thing?
So this one, because this is something I talk about, it's definitely not static. And this is why I much prefer sort of, you know, the LinkedIn method with recruitment rather than a resume, because if you've sent your resume to a recruiter, it's in their system and it's kind of static, and 12 months later, you know, they've still got that old resume that's maybe coming up, and you're missing job opportunities because you've not got your updated experience, maybe you've not sent it to them. So LinkedIn profiles, I think, you know, you need to be looking to change them at least every 12 months, you know, maybe more. If you shift your focus, certainly under your current role, you know, suddenly you've worked on an amazing project or you've had a really big win, you want to get that in your profile, because you could be missing out getting tapped on the shoulder for an excellent opportunity because you've been in a job for 2 years, you kind of think you're not looking for a job and not updating it. So certainly think, you know, and we should be doing this with our careers generally, kind of stopping every, you know, 6, if not 12 months and taking stock, keeping a note of what we've done, what we've achieved, new skills that we've developed, just for ourselves and for, you know, our career planning, our career development, going for promotions, going for new jobs. Because often if we leave it 2 to 3 years, you know, and I'm working with people and they're like, oh, I can't remember, I did this amazing project, but I can't remember the results that I got on that. Or so I think it's really important, and just keep updating your LinkedIn profile.
One of the things that disappoints me about LinkedIn, and I love LinkedIn, is that the recommendations sits at the very bottom of your profile. Yeah. Do you think that recommendations are important even though that's where they're put? And if so, how many recommendations should somebody be aiming to get?
We cut out a little bit there, so I hope I got all the question. So in terms of the recommendation, I think they're really important. It's social proof. Now, you know, we used to put on a resume the reference details, which is now very old school. We don't, you know, we don't need to do that. But I think actually being really upfront, and you know, I know when I work with people and we're looking at the recommendations, they can feel really uncomfortable going out asking for them and really uncomfortable putting them on the profile because it is a bit showing off. But we kind of have to be really proud of our skills and our achievements of who we've worked with and not be scared to kind of go, look at me and this is how good I am. You know, that it's, you know, can be done in a nice way. It doesn't have to be done in a sort of arrogant, you know. I think having those recommendations to really show that you're proud of what you've done, you know, you're a good worker, is important. It gives the reader that social proof that what you're saying is what you do. So it kind of, you know, matches and just rounds the profile up. I say it's a bit like, you know, TripAdvisor, in a sense. You know, we're all looking for that social proof. It's really good. I don't know why they sit at the bottom. And actually, maybe we should contact LinkedIn and there should be a button at the top that people can press saying recommendations and there can be a drop down. Just saying.
LinkedIn, are you listening? That would be a great idea. I wish they would do that. But I don't think that's going to be part of this this current rollout, unfortunately. All right. So I had one more, just a couple more things I wanted to ask. Once you have a great profile, what can you be doing to work LinkedIn in order to be able to be seen by the right people? Okay. Another great question. So I say to people, I think it's, if we kind of understand how it works, that just having this profile, yes, you might get found, but also you might not, because there's however many, you know, million people now on LinkedIn. So I say to people, think about your profile page like a website, and we have to drive traffic to the website for them to read about you and your services and what you have to offer and see if they want to engage with you. I'm sort of, you know, when people can see that kind of concept, it really works. So, but the beauty of LinkedIn is it's so easy to drive traffic to your web page, in a sense, by finding the people that you want to connect with, finding the people that you want to read your profile and go and introduce yourself is one way. So the networking, getting involved in some groups is another way. So if there's industry groups on LinkedIn that you know, are relevant for you, getting involved in those. They're not as big as they used to be, but there are still some groups that are on there. Following suitable hashtags for your industry. So then when you see relevant posts come up, you can like and comment on the posts. So other people that have liked and comment see your profile, the author of the post sees your profile, and that starts to drive traffic. Then we find is a little bit different for people, job seekers and people using LinkedIn to develop their business, but there's no harm for a job seeker to actually write posts and share content, you know, industry specific content. One thing I will say that I see too much of, and I don't think is the right approach as a job seeker, is to keep posting that you're looking for a job. And also, don't keep posting, liking and commenting on posts like mine, career coaches posts. I know, but I'm not the person in your industry that's going to recruit you. So if you're going to spend time on LinkedIn and you're going to like and comment on industry posts of people in your industry that are important, that you want to know you. Not, you know, and there's a lot of people, and there's some, you know, high profile that post all around jobs, and I see thousands of job seekers comment on them,
And I just think there's no point in commenting on that. You're not getting in front of the right people for the right reasons.
Another great way to stand out on LinkedIn. So if you're at the beginning of your career, is it ever too soon to set up a LinkedIn profile?
No. Is the short answer. Not at all. And I've been working with a few graduates. I actually just did a keynote speech for a university for graduates. Don't just see it as a job search site that you're going to use when you want to get a job. See it as networking, as meeting the right people. You know, the saying your network is your net worth is really true. Somebody you meet today, working with, they might end up working for you 3, 5, 10 years from now. So it's just about getting to know people, getting to know your industry, getting to know what's happening in your industry. You know, obviously if you're sort of still in your school years, no, but you know, if you're at university, you know, and I've worked with a few people that are just starting uni now, but they want to start networking, they want to start lining up some work experience. Perhaps you know, they're not, you know, they might have some time within their studies to just do some work, to meet the right people, to get, you know, the information on industry events that are happening. So, no, and just think, you know, if you were starting university now and you start building your profile, where you're going to be when you finish university and how much better equipped you're going to be getting those placements and those roles than someone that's and getting out there. No, not at all. I think there's you know, it's never too early and it's never too late.
I think it's a bit like when's the best time to plant a tree 20 years ago. That builds, doesn't it? It builds over time, and you can't get a tree from a sapling in 5 minutes. You have to allow it to grow over time, and I think that's exactly what happens with LinkedIn.
Exactly. And I think that's a really good point for anyone starting on LinkedIn, is it takes a bit for it to grow, and it takes the watering, the nurturing. So I have a few people and they get a bit frustrated, first of all, that their network's not growing, that conversations aren't opening up, that coffee calls aren't happening. And they've got, you know, sort of a less or around 100 connections that they're not getting involved in conversations, commenting, liking, posting, or reaching out to people. It's not going to happen without really nurturing that seed and letting it grow.
And just to finish off, is there anything I haven't asked you that you think is really valuable advice, apart from taking your course, which I think is exceptionally good idea? Is there any one particular piece of advice that you would give to people who are trying to, say, for example, change career at this time?
Okay, so, and I think this is a piece of advice for sort of anyone in their career. It's about stopping and taking stock before you do anything else. So I kind of, you know, use how we would market a product, is we have to stop and really look at benefits that we've got. What, you know, do we want to use? Skills have we got that we want to use more of? Where do we want to grow and develop? And who do we, you know, who's our target market? What are the companies that we want to work for? Why do we want to work for them? Why would they need us? What problems do we solve? So I think doing that piece of work first and getting, you know, really getting clarity on ourselves, on what we want, where we want to go, you know, and planning out the next job role, but even the next 3 or 4 after that. Because when we have that direction in terms of where we want to go in, planning our marketing, our LinkedIn profile to align with that, knowing the people we have to connect with, the conversations we need to get involved in, everything kind of falls into play. You have with, you know, career changers, I think, do this a little bit more, but perhaps not in depth enough. and certainly other people that are out there looking for work. They're just trying to throw a profile together and get out there and talk to anyone and everyone, but without a sort of clear focus on what they stand for, what value they bring, what they want to do. So I think that clarity piece is often the missing piece of the puzzle for people, and that's the game changer.
And I agree. And I think that's for whatever you're trying to do with LinkedIn, is to know what it is that you're trying to achieve. And that way you are much more likely to be super focused on the right activities and the right strategies that are going to get you the results. So I really agree with that one too. Adele, I really appreciate you spending the time talking with me today, this morning and tonight. Thank you so very much indeed, all the way from Italy. And I look forward to having another chat with you again soon.
Thank you.